Everyone tried and everyone failed. The doctors, the board members, even her so-called friends. The young CEO, brilliant and admired, lay dying, her empire collapsing around her. But when hope was gone and no one could save her, a man with nothing left but his daughter stepped forward. A single dad, a veteran, a man who carried scars the world couldn't see. And with nothing more than love, courage, and heart, he gave her the one thing no one else could, the chance to live again. Her name was Claire Donovan, a woman who had built her billion-dollar company with fire in her eyes and steel in her will. People called her ruthless, others called her a genius, but no one could deny her success. She was the kind of leader who inspired headlines, the kind who made people believe in impossible dreams. But power doesn't protect anyone from pain. In the silence of her penthouse, away from the flashing cameras, Claire's health began to crumble. An aggressive illness swept her strength away, and slowly, the world's most unstoppable woman became a shadow of herself. Doctors filled her hospital room, armed with machines and theories, but nothing worked. Medicine failed, treatments drained her, and as the weeks passed, she became more patient than person, watched, studied, pitied. Her board whispered of replacements, her investors circled like vultures, and even the closest people in her life began to pull away, afraid of watching her fade. For all her wealth and brilliance, Claire Donovan was alone. Far away from her world of glass towers and private jets lived Michael Hayes, a single father and veteran. Life after war had not been kind. He worked long hours at a factory, struggling to keep the lights on while raising his daughter, Lily, who was the only light in his darkened life. His wife had left years ago, unable to handle the shadows war had carved into him. But Lily gave him a reason to breathe. Every bedtime story, every school lunch packed, every tired smile reminded him why he kept going. One night as Michael picked Lily up from the community library, he saw something strange, a woman, frail and pale, sitting quietly at a corner table, her eyes hidden behind oversized glasses. She looked like she didn't belong there. Dressed too elegantly for the little town, yet there was something broken in her posture. It was Claire Donovan. No one recognized her outside her empire. She had escaped her world to be anonymous for a moment. Lily, with the innocence only children have, skipped over to her. "Are you okay?" she asked. Claire looked at her, surprised by the kindness, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled faintly. Michael quickly apologized, but Claire shook her head. "She just reminded me what it feels like to be seen," she whispered. That night, a fragile thread connected their lives. A CEO drowning in loneliness and a veteran clinging to love. Over the next few weeks, Michael and Lily would see her more. Sometimes at the library, sometimes at the park. Claire never spoke of who she was, but little by little, she let her guard down. She laughed at Lily's stories, asked Michael about his service, and listened in silence as he told her about the battles he still fought in his sleep. He never judged her frailty. She never pitied his scars. But then the truth came crashing in. One evening, Claire collapsed in front of them, her body trembling with weakness. Michael caught her before she hit the ground, his instincts sharper than thought. When the ambulance arrived, her identity was exposed. "She's Claire Donovan," people gasped, cameras flashing. But while the world swarmed, Michael sat at her bedside, holding her hand. He didn't care about her empire. He cared about the woman who had smiled at his daughter like she mattered. And in that moment, Claire realized. Maybe love could heal what medicine could not. The days that followed tested them both. Claire's condition worsened. The hospital talked of trials and experimental treatments, but nothing gave certainty. Her board was already arranging to push her out, treating her illness as weakness. She felt betrayed, discarded, like her life had become a burden instead of a legacy. Michael, meanwhile, faced his own doubts. Who was he, a factory worker, a broken veteran, to stand beside a woman of such power and wealth? Yet every time he thought of stepping back, Lily would tug his hand and say, "Don't leave her, Daddy. She needs us." Those words echoed in his heart, because deep down, Michael knew what it meant to need someone and have no one show up. So he showed up, every single day. He read to Claire when she couldn't sleep. He brought Lily's silly drawings to pin on her hospital wall, brightening the sterile room. He reminded her of the things worth living for, not money, not titles, but the simple beauty of being loved without condition. One night, when the pain was unbearable and she whispered, "I don't think I can fight anymore." Michael leaned closer, his voice steady but gentle. "You're not fighting alone, and you're not fighting for them. You're fighting for you. And if you can't believe in yourself right now, believe in us. Believe in me." Something in those words broke through her despair. Not the voice of a doctor, not the advice of an investor, but the truth of a man who had been broken and learned how to stand again. For the first time, Claire cried, not because she was weak, but because someone gave her permission to feel human. Slowly, her health began to turn. The treatment started working, perhaps because her spirit was stronger. Weeks turned into months, and against all predictions, she improved. She walked again, she laughed again, she lived again. Not as the untouchable CEO, but as Claire, the woman who discovered that love was the strongest medicine of all. The world looked at Michael differently now. Reporters called him the hero who saved Claire Donovan, but he brushed it off. "I didn't save her," he said softly. "We saved each other." In the end, Claire returned to her empire, but she was no longer the same. She didn't lead with steel and fear anymore. She led with empathy, remembering what it felt like to be powerless. And by her side, not as an accessory, but as her partner in life, stood Michael and Lily, the family she never knew she needed. The story spread not as the tale of a dying CEO saved by money or science, but as the reminder that sometimes, when all else fails, love is the one thing that saves us. And for Claire and Michael, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning.